Welcome to the season finale of Dropping Gems Aftershow. On today's show, our guest, Valencia Shante Maat, is an ancestor activist, aspiring author, entrepreneur, herbal medicine woman, cook, nutritionist, practitioner, ritualist, and sacred speaker. She collects, gathers, studies, writes, speaks, and creates content online to restore the feminine divine's presence, practice, and philosophies with women and girls globally under the name of Passport to Balance. She is currently a doctoral candidate at the new Seminary for Interfaith Studies with special interest in goddess traditions, feminine foodways, and women's wellness. She holds a Master's of Arts degree in Divinity from Union Theological Seminary at Columbia University. During that time, she also earned certifications from the American Fitness Professionals and Associates, the C.H.O.W Institute, and the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. After graduating, she focused on her spiritual foundation by being a non-denominational ordained minister, Interfaith Minister, and a local preacher for the AME Zion Church. She also was initiated into the Ancient Kemetic Egyptian mystery systems. And lastly, Queen Afua's Sacred Women Practitioner for the ancient healing arts of feminine divine from Sacred Women Global Villiage. Stay tuned because you don't want to miss this episode. You are watching the Dropping Gems After Show. Dropping Gems Academy presents the 2021 Loving on You Virtual Summit, taking place on March 10th through the 13th. We have all been through a rough 2020, so take some time for self-care and self-love. Get your tickets at www.lovingonyoussummit.com. Venice Richards, your pure romance consultant, inspires women to enhance their intimate lives and take care of their sexual health. Book your party today. Visit pureromance.com/Venice Richards or call 631-943-1868 for more information or to place an order. For inquiries, for sponsorship, or advertising on this program, email info@KeishaChristian.com for more information. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am so elated to have on Valencia Shante Maat on my show today. She is one of my sacred sisters. We actually went through a rites of passage with our master teacher, Queen Afua, and I have to tell you, I just love the fact that she actually reached out to me and decided to come on my show today, and I'm so excited to talk about her business and all the wonderful things that she's doing. Thank you so much, Valencia, for coming on the show today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having this platform for us. So, really grateful.
Yeah, so let's get down to it. What exactly is Passport to Balance, and why did you start it?
Yes, so Passport to Balance is basically a collective of rituals, of retreats, of just helping women remind themselves of the feminine divine. So it's basically like all the practices of the goddesses and the deities globally. So I just don't focus on African goddesses. I focus on all the goddesses around the world. So this came about in seminary. I went to Union Theological Seminary at Columbia University. And basically most of the stuff that we were taught was very patriarchal. And, you know, it was only like the added classes, you know, that was like interfaith or that talked about women's studies. And through the women's studies class, that's what I learned about like different goddesses and stuff. And it's just like an afterthought. It wasn't like part of like the whole curriculum, no matter like what your major was. So of course that didn't sit well with me. So the more and more we're talking about like men and their accomplishments, even the authors and the theorists and the philosophers, the more and more I wanted to learn more about women's contribution. So when we start learning about like womanist studies and feminist studies, and then even, feminist theological studies, I just got more deeper because I was like an interfaith student. I wanted to learn about all faiths and particularly African based spiritualities. And when I heard about like the goddesses and stuff and their attributes and their principles, I'm like, okay, this is home. This is home. So I just kept studying from there. So.
Oh, nice. So when you mentioned the term that I want you to really explain, you mentioned the term feminine divine. What exactly is that for my audience members who might not be familiar with that term?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, in our tradition, we say like goddesses and everything like that. So feminine divine is like another term of saying God, right? The feminine divine, like all things that are divine, but that has more feminine attributes. Now, also, I want to expand on feminine, right? Because just because you're saying feminine doesn't mean like dainty or passive or anything like that. Like feminine, because myself, like I'm androgynous, and I have a lot of like masculine energy. So the goddesses like Sekhmet have that warrior energy. So when we talk about feminine, it's like the whole spectrum of women, right? From like super feminine to like even the masculine women. So just and all of the deities and the gods and the goddesses that make up the feminine divine as our divine creator.
Nice. So because now I'm thinking about what you said. At one time I was studying at Fordham University. I was going for my doctorate in religious studies, and
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I didn't know that. That's
I was
cool.
going for my doctorate in that at Fordham University, and I have to agree with you. One of the things but mine was more so from a Christian standpoint. I wasn't interfaith. So
Okay.
that is so true when you look at all the stories, who the stories are written by,
Yes.
or who put their name on the stories, because that's something I learned, even with the Gospels, especially not the Gospels, the books that were written by Paul.
Yes.
He had female scribes,
Mm-hmm.
but he was accredited for those books. So
Mm-hmm.
it's I love the fact that and that's something I never did. I love the fact that you actually went into and really did research on the the female contribution within religion, as far as even with the deities that some religions actually worship, and the feminine aspect. So that's admirable, and I like the fact that you are now bringing that into your business as well. Passport to Balance. So can you
Mm.
actually now can you go into some of the programs that are offered through Passport to Balance?
Sure. So right now I'm still in development of everything because I'm such a researcher. So I research so much. So now I'm like trying to put it in a practical sense right now. So I think the first program I'm going to do is on rituals because I did not realize that I've been practicing these rituals even before I came to seminary and before I actually learned that it was actual ritual besides, what we learn in church, right? So even, before I went to seminary, I was a Christian, heavily involved in the church and all the different ministries and stuff. And I just felt like there was more that there was just a more to what I was being taught in the church. So that's actually what led me to go to seminary. But I'm like heavily called to perform rituals. And like I said, I was doing these rituals, not the same rituals, but I've been practicing these rituals since I don't know, I can't even remember. But when I was in seminary, people used to call on me to perform rituals like pouring libations for the ancestors or just creating sacred space. Like people just naturally asked me. And that's one thing that I loved about my school is that, even though we're learning and we're a student and we're trying to figure out which path to go, people are so in tune that they would just call you and reach like, oh yeah, can you do this? Can you do that? And even if you don't feel like you're ready, or that even if that's your calling, you do it anyway. Like there's some sense of
Something innate within you.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Especially because that place cultivated, for us to just grow and nurture your gifts.
Yeah, so and I believe this is really a part of holistic health. When we look at
Yes.
our spiritual practice, and I'm we're not on today talking about religion, but
Right.
there are certain when we talk about spirituality, there are rituals that many of us actually do that we don't realize are rituals, like you mentioned to me earlier, before you got into the program, you were doing these rituals and you didn't realize it. Can you
Yeah.
expound on that? What exactly does it mean to do a ritual, or what is a ritual for those who might be unsure?
Right. Yeah. So the most common ritual that most do, I'm pretty sure, is our food blessing, right? We bless our food, and that's the most common rituals that we practice globally, is our food practices, our prayers over our food. Um, so that's the most common. And before we go to bed, our before we rise in the morning, I think those is the most common that we do. But I would say, in speaking of prayer, is a ritual. You know, dependent, no matter what your faith practice is, everyone prays to their higher power, right? And everyone perform these rituals. But in being American, we're socially Christian, right? So we're kind of just taught from young to pray over our food, bless the food, pray before you go to bed, thank God, for everything, saying thank you. um, the rituals that I was doing before I realized it was an actual ritual. Um, Actually, I'm learning more and more about it right now because I think it's going to be like a future book. But the mirror work. I've been doing mirror work for years. I did not know it was actual like thing, and like people do these rituals. Um, I've been doing like manifestation, like vision boards, but kind of in my own way. I've been doing that for years. Didn't even know anything about like a vision board until it became a thing. Um, that's the only thing that comes to my mind right now.
And it's so
So,
funny how we are doing these things. We're actually doing the work and we don't realize that's what we're doing. Like you talk about mirror work, right? I
hmm
know for me, and if I really think back, I've been doing mirror work since I was a child. But I
yes,
didn't know that's what I was doing. I would
exactly.
I would sit and look in the mirror, but I wasn't really looking at myself. I was like looking at, and I didn't have a word for it at that age because I was so young.
Mhm.
I was looking within myself and questioning, why am I here?
Yes,
What is my
yes,
purpose?
yes.
Since
Do
I
you
was a
remember how,
child.
remember how old you were?
I was very young. I'm maybe about 5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
just sit in the mirror, and then like my parents would think, oh, I just like looking at myself. I wasn't looking at myself, I was looking within myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I We are proud to announce that Dropping Gems now has merchandise. Yes, we have t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, home decor, and so much more. You could get your official Dropping Gems merchandise at www.keishagems.com/apparel.
Yeah.
just sit in the mirror, and then, you know, like my parents would think, oh, I just like looking at myself. I wasn't looking at myself, I was looking within myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have the words to describe that at the time.
Yes. I agree with you. I've been doing the same thing. And also like now we use this word manifestation, womanifestation. Like doing the mirror work, I would speak to my future self, you know, because I wasn't like so happy like as a child. So the way that I would motivate myself was to speak to myself as motivating myself to get to the future and saying, when you become older, you're going to be this, you're going to do this. And that's how I used to pump myself up in the mirror quite often, actually. Yeah.
I actually like that. That's something, even we as adults, you know, when we have goals and we're
Hmm.
looking at goals, we start to speak to ourselves, but actually talk to yourself in the mirror. You could even
Hmm.
write it down and talk
Yes.
to yourself and say, you know, I'm so proud of you that you
Hmm.
closed that deal. I'm so proud
Yes.
of you. You go, girl. You
Hmm.
are amazing. You are smart. Yes, you were doing
Yes.
your thing on that job. You know, like
Hmm.
really
Yeah.
speaking to yourself in that way. I
Yeah.
love that. I never thought to do it like that. It's more like I would question myself, but I like that.
No, yeah, I did that too. I think I questioned myself quite a bit, like why am I here and how did I get here and all that stuff. But just the daily, just to make it through my day, I used to just motivate myself every single day. Well, not every day, but on a
On the
daily
days where you
basis.
felt down,
Yeah,
when you were
definitely,
doubting yourself.
definitely. Yeah.
And it kind of seeps in, and like there's a thing that I know you probably heard of called imposter syndrome, because for some reason this has been coming up a lot with me and my spirit. You know,
Mm,
as you move forward and you start to get to new heights in your life, and when you get on new levels, you get a little scared, like, am I smart enough to do this? Do this?
yes.
You know what I mean? But you've
Yes.
been called to do it, so you are equipped. And
Mm,
we tend to start to think, oh, people are going to think I'm not smart enough. I don't know how to do this. But with that, from doing the mirror work, and like you just mentioned, or positive affirmations, that's like my thing, right?
yes.
We could definitely get over that. So I think
Yes.
it's so important, the things that you're doing right now and the foundation that you are laying right now with your business, Passport to Balance. And I don't know, I see, like, from what you said, I see so many programs coming out of this one business for you. I really see that for you,
Thank you.
you
Thank
know?
you. Yeah, I do. And that's the thing also is I I feel it, I see it, and it's been told. I have so many books written down, like the titles written down, because sometimes, especially if I'm in meditation,
Mm-hmm.
or sleeping, or if I'm just right in the middle, like, I get so much downloaded to me, and sometimes it makes me like I start hyperventilating. Sometimes it's like, okay, I have to calm down, and then sometimes it comes. I just like try to write everything down, and then this is why I do so many rituals, and I do sacred baths. That's my other favorite ritual is sacred baths. Um, but yeah, sometimes it gets so overwhelming that I start getting anxiety, and then yes, and then the doubts come in. Oh, I'm not feminine enough. I'm not nurturing enough or loving enough because I am more on the tomboy side. So then I also be like, I'm not going to be received well by other women, especially other black women. You know what I mean? I've had that issues before, so it's like I don't know. And then I try to do other stuff and I'm like, no, like whoever receives it, receive it. Whoever don't. I'm not for you. Just like, there's so many of us. There's so many people who are called, and not everybody is called through the, we all have gifts, and we all have teachers and mentors, but not everybody's called for everyone. So I realize and I now understand my audience. And so, in order for me to understand my audience, I also have to be 100% happy and comfortable with my true authentic self.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
So,
by doing the work that you're doing, I'm doing as well. And I could imagine, like, when you actually are probably speaking to someone, or when you might be counseling someone or even praying with someone, those same words that you're using to them, there's probably sometimes where you feel as though you're ministering to yourself.
oh yes, all the time, all the time. Because at the end of the day, we are reflection, we're a
Mhm.
reflection of each other, and it's, man, yeah. I definitely don't take it lightly. So that's another reason why it's been taking me so long, because I feel like I have to have this tool, like all gathering all these tools, and I got to do this and I got to read 20 more books and I got to take this program and this program. And at the end of the day, then I'll be so full of knowledge and wisdom, but I'm not sharing it with nobody. And I'm like, okay, like I'm just going to, I'm like, I'm just going to stop, because it's like, I don't want to go get another degree. I don't want to go to another program and another program and another program. Like, I have enough. I'm full. I have enough. So
Mhm.
now I'm just in this space of just sharing what I know and what I've learned and just creating this program. That's how I feel. Like, I feel like I'm just so full, and there's always programs to go to. There's always books. There's more learning. There's always more learning. But right now I'm just in a sharing, giving mode right now. Just,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
it's important for you to, now is your time to create. You know what I mean?
Yes,
This is our
yes,
time now to create, and I really feel as though this is the best time for us. Although what's going
yes,
on in the world, because people really need healing right now, and we
yes,
are being called to do so.
yes. I totally agree. I totally agree. It's like we already did the work. We put in so much work. We planted seeds right now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So now it's about cultivating those seeds and actually and grow. So yeah, I definitely feel that.
Yeah, now it's time to harvest, and you definitely are doing that. You are
Yes,
definitely doing
yes.
that.
This is the harvest season. Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel it like crazy. I feel it like crazy. It's overwhelming, but I'm just in a receiving mode so I can just get it back out. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. So within your company, Passport to Balance, do you have like programs for any sort of programs, or what I want to say, anything for young women? I don't know. That's coming up with me to help do empowerment for young women, especially since you are so into the feminine divine, as we mentioned earlier.
Yes. That's basically, I'm not going to say my primary audience is women, right? But I'm definitely preparing a lot of like social media stuff, because the young women, like all the young youth, are on social media. So I'm basically in a process right now in taking all the research that I have and all of the papers that I've written and turning them into just small little bits of like videos, just basically creating content to put it on social media so they're able to receive it quickly, like just plain English, able to receive it. Um, it's a lot of work, but I'm definitely doing that right now. And it started because, like I said, growing up, like I said, just being culturally Christian, everything you hear is masculine, masculine, and without the feminine, there is no masculine. So how, like, it doesn't make sense to just, especially nowadays, people are in that there's a time right now of receiving truth now instead of belief.
Mm-hmm.
And right now the energy that we in is like, people are leading with their heart, the heart chakra. So the feminine divine is all about the heart chakra, love, unconditional love, community, so it is kind of like the perfect time where people are starting to receive this more. And that's another reason why I feel like a string, like I'm being called, like literally out of my comfort zone. And that's why for me doing those release rituals was so important, because I felt like I had to do them. I had to break away from my fears, anxieties, traumas, um, generational curses, all the stuff that has been holding me back. I felt like just being led like a string just forward, and everything literally just falling off by the wayside. So yeah, definitely for the younger generation of being able to have a space for them to learn, and then also provide resources, books, programs for them to go further. Eventually, once um, I get more settled with having like a retreat center, that's my ultimate goal. I've always wanted to have a retreat center, so that eventually I will have a retreat center for young women to come to.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Now,
Um,
I just want to expound on the heart chakra because that was mentioned. And this is a teacher in me. I just want to make sure when we have conversations, those whom are not well versed in chakras, I just want to talk a bit more about that. You said you were led by your heart chakra. What exactly do you mean by that?
um, well, I'm not. I mean, now I am. I actually been doing a lot of heart work. Um, I say the last year, but I'm saying just collectively, energetically, vibrationally, right now in the world, everything that's going on, astrologically, like the we're in a more receiving mode of love, unconditional love, because of everything that's going on. People are not angry or, have all these stuff, even though some people do that choose to hold on to that, right? But we're more in a vulnerability mode right now. So it's like opening up a space for people to be authentic, for people to show and be unconditional love. This is the feminine energy that's coming in, and you see we have all these super moons this year, and all these like powerful moons. It's like this feminine energy is coming in, and that's one of the attributes that she brings is love, compassion. So this is a perfect time of releasing. That's why I said releasing things that hurt, hurt you in the past, releasing negative things. This is the time because when your mind, your attention is set on that, and then you do the ritual to do that, it just falls off, you know, because it's right now energetically, we're kind of in the heart chakra is activated right now.
Definitely. And I
Yeah.
think about this year is the year where you talk about release, because
Hmm.
a lot of times when we are healing, it looks ugly. It looks
Yes.
ugly. It's not pretty at all.
Mm,
And you notice like
mm-mm.
what has happened this year. So many things have come up
Oh my gosh, yes,
that we would say are not pretty and very
yes.
difficult to deal with, very difficult to face. And
Hmm.
the fact now, as we are coming towards the closing of the year, when you talk about the heart chakra, and for those of you who are not familiar with the term heart chakra or what a chakra is actually a Sanskrit word for a spinning wheel. And there are actually 7 main chakras. So one of the chakras that we were talking about is the heart chakra in our heart center, which is really a lot of times it's associated with the femininity and with women, men too, everything
Of
all in
course,
balance, but
right.
definitely for women. And now we are in the time where you see people are coming out, and we are starting to heal certain
Hmm.
things that we're starting to learn now in this year, that I know that I'm realizing, because we did
Yes,
ask for clear vision 2020 and we're getting it. So
yes,
not
definitely.
looking pretty, things are being revealed, like look at our
Mm,
healthcare system, especially in
yes,
America. That's really been exposed and revealed.
exposed.
Yes. So
Yes,
if no one knew before, they know now. Definitely. So I like the fact that you brought that up, and speaking about the love and the divine, and us learning how to love, and
yes.
learning how to become more connected, and to ourselves,
Hmm.
um also being connected to actually seeing our true selves by doing the mirror work. So I love the fact that these are things that you're incorporating into your business, and also with helping especially young, not only just women but young women as well, which is
Hmm.
a beautiful thing.
Right, right. Yeah. The other part that I forgot to mention besides the rituals is the recipes.
Oh.
So I am writing a cookbook. My my book that I've been working on for like 3 years is part of my doctorate program,
Mm-hmm.
and it is. Um, I wouldn't say it's a cookbook, but it is a recipe book. But I wanted to launch something now, so I think I'm working on an ebook to be released. Just talking about the feminine foods that we need for our body, because a lot of, I wasn't taught how to eat growing up. We wasn't really taught nutrition, but specifically for our women's bodies, we wasn't taught that. So I'm working on dropping just a small ebook, even though I put like free stuff on Instagram and I made a TikTok because it's just easier to reach that audience. But I just want to drop like a little ebook first, before the big book comes out. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it feels good doing it. So I know this is exactly what I'm supposed to do, you know.
Yes. That's
And then I do a lot of mentoring and counseling because they're DM me, oh, what about this? Should I eat this? And then it starts up a whole conversation. So it's a lot of, it's like a new way of counseling. You know what I mean? So I spend a lot of time answering questions online to the women. So
that's beautiful. You are actually walking in the path that you've been chosen to. You're walking in your purpose, I'll put it like that. So you're actually teaching women how to eat with love. So eating foods that are loving to the body, and
mm-hmm.
especially on a cellular level, because we don't realize that the foods that
Yes,
we eat actually have a direct impact to our menstrual cycles. That's
yes.
something I had to learn. I learned that when I was in my 30s when I learned that. I didn't realize that. And when I realized how to eat according to eat a certain way, it
Mm-hmm.
made that time of the month so much better.
Oh my gosh, girl. Yes, I just learned that a few years ago. Actually, I learned it in Sacred Woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I learned it because when we did the fast, we did the fresh food fast,
Yes.
um, and I got my cycle like maybe like a week after. And for the first time in my life, without being on birth control, I did not have no cramps, no nothing. And I was just amazed. I didn't think it was possible. I
Mm-hmm.
really did not think it was possible.
Yes. So that's
So
a beautiful
yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
How what you're taking all that knowledge that you're learning or have learned and incorporating this into your business. So
Yes, and especially for specifically to the young women who are athletes because I was an athlete. So that's particularly because, when you're a young woman and you're going through, your cycles and you have the menstrual cramps and you have bloating, you have all those things. Imagine that when you guys still got to go to practice after school. You got to go to weight training, you got to do track workouts, you got to do all these other workouts. And a lot of time, like for me, I couldn't go to practice for like 2 or 3 days. I'm like in the bed. So it's still a lot of women who are suffering from, you know, the side effects of eating poor diets and
mhm.
having like heavy menstrual and cramping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Definitely. Well, that's important that those are things that you teach as well. So I have to tell you, Valencia, I am so happy that you're able to come on my show today. I had such a great time talking to you. Do you
Yeah.
have any last words or any thing that you want to leave with my audience today?
Um, I would say the number one thing that has kept me all these years and everything and all the experiences that I've gone through is to trust her.
Mm-hmm.
Trust that inner voice, no matter what, because she would never, ever, ever, ever steer you wrong.
Definitely. That's a great lesson to learn. Trust yourself, because a lot of times we tend to not. especially as women. We tend to, especially young women, we look at other people like, oh, they know more than they know better than I do. And then something deep and strongly in you will tell you, no, don't do that. So it's important that we learn to actually trust our own gut and trust our own voice. So it's so true.
Yes.
Can you tell my audience where they could reach you at, your social media handles and all of that? And definitely, if you're watching this on YouTube, Valencia's information will be in the description box below. So Valencia, can you tell us where we could reach you at?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Passport to Balance or Valencia Shante Ma'ad. On Instagram, Valencia Shante Ma'ad or at Couture Hoops, and also at Passport to Balance. And so in Twitter, Passport Balance. Yeah.
Yes, so all her information will be below. Valencia, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate you sharing space with me today. And, this is really special, you being my sacred sister. So I really appreciate that. All right, then. Thank you so much for watching.
Dropping gems from Keisha Christian. She's on a mission, sharing information, knowledge for soul, body and mind. Dropping gems, KeishaGems.com, KeishaGems.com.
I would like to thank our guest, Valencia. You are such an inspiration, and I give thanks for you, my sacred sister. And a special thank you to you, my subscribers. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, click the like button, leave a comment down below, and let me know how you enjoyed today's episode. Holistic health and much abundance to you. Stay tuned for season 4. Peace and blessings to you.